Okay guys, welcome to the channel. This is my second introductory video to the channel. I did have one when I started this channel over 2 years ago, but obviously over 2 years, gear changes. I get a lot of emails now. What are you using for this, that, and the other? And I figured it was better just to re-record my introductory video to give an update on my gear, some of the mission statement of my channel, and a focus that now has become more defined as I've had now 2 years with the channel. So first of all, I will take this camera off the tripod in a minute and show you all the gear that I'm using now and even the room treatments, answer most of the questions that I get through email in terms of, as of, I guess we're in August 2022, what I'm using now. I don't change the gear a whole lot, and that's one thing right off the bat I'll tell you about. You know, when you start this hobby, that's the fun thing. Changing gear. You almost change it like your clothes. And FYI, I used to have a clothing line. That's what I was known for. A lot of celebrities wore my stuff. I also had a channel on YouTube that was based on what it's like to own a Tesla. That was back in 2014 or something. So this is not my first rodeo in terms of being in the public eye and something, but this is something that's always been a passion of mine, being an audiophile for 30 plus years, going to shows, evolving, networking. So just to give you that FYI right off the bat, you will see me looking a little bit different at shows, on the camera, elsewhere, just in public, even the membership section. I do have a membership section. Let me talk about that real quick, where things that I don't want to share publicly. I'm not into all the public call outs, drama, clickbait, all that kind of stuff. I decided with my channel, I will put that in a separate membership section. So once you subscribe, there will be a second button that pops up that says join. If you want to do that, you can have access to videos that I don't release to the public, as well as my WhatsApp group where you can join and speak with other members as well as me on a daily basis, and also a lot of experts in the industry that I've networked with and put into that group as well. And really, that was one of the first tenets of what I wanted to accomplish with this channel, different from all the ones that do the boot cart reviews with the Lazy Susan and all the B-rolls and all that stuff, is that I found that if you live in a small town like I did, New Orleans, when I was growing up, you didn't have many people that were audiophiles or not many dealers. So to evolve in the hobby, it really relegated to waiting for a stereophile to come out each month and read some articles. And this was before the internet. Now that the internet, you can get a little more interaction with people. But really, that thirst for interaction with people that you can really bond with and enjoy the same hobby is something that I thought could be done through YouTube and membership section. So that's one of the goals of my channel right off the bat. Number one, giving people that don't have day-to-day interaction with other audiophiles. You can do that through subscribing in my videos, but also the membership section. Real time, you can have access to me and a lot of other audiophiles and feel like you're more involved and getting a lot of expertise and help that you can't get through even magazines and these regular review videos and online magazines. Now, on top of that, obviously my audiophile journey is being narrated here, and I've already passed up, before I started this channel, a few stages. Obviously, when you first start, you're just like everybody else. You're wanting to churn through gear. That's what it's all about. You think gear is where it's at, and that's a fun part of the hobby, no doubt. And some people stay in that mode forever. But most people graduate away from that, and there was a time where I would have loved to have gotten free gear and loaner gear and done this as a review channel, but I have almost zero interest in that right off the bat. So I'm going to tell people, if any manufacturers are watching, I will occasionally do review of stuff I don't own. Mostly any review I do is stuff I own or stuff I'm extremely interested in potentially buying myself. I'm not going to be doing a boot cart speaker review. You're not going to see gear on a Lazy Susan, B-roll, and, you know, fancy photography. Not going to happen on this channel. But just to let you know, I've kind of graduated to focusing on other things. Once you get your gear situated, there are things that are even more important, like room treatments, DSP. Learning how to use that correctly versus incorrectly is a huge thing to get you over the hump and to that next stage in the hobby. And even stuff like power delivery, not just what you see after the outlet in the wall, like fancy power cords, power conditioning, whatever, all the way back to your breaker box. Spent a lot of time learning a lot more about that from an audiophile electrician standpoint. So just want to give you that kind of mission statement focus of what my channel's about. That's a little bit different from everybody else. Quite frankly, it's just a narration of my audiophile journey. I'm not doing this for money. You'll see music clips where you won't see on other channels, and those are non-monetized. You'll see basically just stuff that I'm doing regardless if I have a channel or not. Show reports. I have a kind of unique style of just uploading real time, not worrying about polished, curated content. So again, I'm trying to be different from everybody else, but it's not like I'm trying. This is what I would do as a viewer. I'm just like you guys. If you want my introduction, I'm no different than any of you guys. I am just like you guys. I just have a little bit more experience, and obviously I've done a lot in this hobby. So hopefully you'll enjoy that content. Now, without further ado, I'm going to take the camera off the tripod and show you what I'm currently using in my room to update you on that aspect, as well as in my main house, because I have two systems plus a cool headphone rig. I think you'll enjoy that. So let me go ahead and take this off the tripod and show you what I'm using. Okay, so this is my main listening room, and let me go ahead and... It's basically a garage apartment, and it's got very unique small dimensions with the roof. But you can see I've got, let's talk about room treatments first. ASC2 traps, diffusion, even some no res there. This whole box back here behind my listening position is filled with insulation. I basically have no less than like 9 bass traps here. You can never have too many. On wall, ceiling traps. Some dinky traps I'm not too fond of, but just showing you that for FYI purposes. First reflection point, ASC tube traps here. These actually have the ability, depending on how you orientate them, to being absorption versus diffusion. Bass traps. This case right here, it looks like a stand. It's actually filled totally with insulation, is a bass trap. Same thing here, first reflection point. You can kind of get the impression. Actually, mini split ACs are kind of good as well. I just put that in. Back here, in terms of gear, that's a Rel 25 sub. That's new from where my original video of what I was using. Occasionally, I will buy new gear if I see something that really blows me away. That piece did blow me away. But if you're on a budget, I still recommend this SVS seal box sub. That is a great piece. If you're on a budget, stick with SVS. If you can afford the reference level stuff, although Rel just came out with number 31, 32, you know, that's the way to go. Magnapan. I used to have home theater, all Magnapans, but now you can kind of see the legacy rears there. I don't use them anymore. Maggie for home theater, I'm not a big fan of. However, their center with this bass module stand is actually quite good now, and it mates well to GR Research and Extremes that are open baffle, planar, and then with the subs, close as possible as I could find. For my rears, I'm using my former main speakers that were referenced. These are sound lines that date back to the year 2000, but these are heavily modified by Steve Nugent of Empirical Audio. He used to bring these to shows and win best of sound at the shows with his modification. He was using Parasound JC1 amps, and I was always very impressed with them, and he sold them for a few $1,000 bucks, and I picked them up. They were great. and they use the B&G planers. I'm a big fan of coherency. Now, these aren't one driver doing everything, but Geo Research does a really good job with their driver integration. And I have plenty of videos showcasing these. So, and then SMC Audio, even though it says McCormick, yes, this is legacy McCormick chassis from the 90s, but SMC Audio is the new company that Steve McCormick runs, and he basically guts these from the 90s and puts new components in there to give you up-to-date modern performance. And I'll take this cover off real quick just to show you. And when you compare parts to parts of mega dollar amps nowadays, you would be surprised for the price to performance ratio and cost ratio how much value you get with SMC Audio. You'll see Jupiter caps, you'll see Nishikon Gold, you'll see a Bokino IEC, which you'll never see. This is a Plytron transformer. Most companies don't have the ability to even buy enough Plytron transformers to make that cost effective. He also has a built-in DC blocking. Again, a lot of this is customized based on my needs, my requests, and as well the aesthetics. So I have some videos if you want to use SMC Audio for your amplification. Definitely highly recommend it. In terms of servers, I build my own because I wasn't impressed with what was out there. In terms of whatever brand you name, I wasn't impressed, especially in terms of brands that didn't offer video. And what was ironic is all these servers didn't offer video, but they all put all these LED displays on their product, and they crammed them in these modified amplifier chassis, and they never dissipated heat well. They didn't have very robust processors. As you can see here, this would not fit in most server chassis. I use a separate USB card, separate video card, export everything. I use a cool chassis. I like to make anything I do look cool. I've even done stuff level of dinosaur bone included. So if you're interested in having me build you a server, it has to be something super cool, one-off. I'm not going to do anything that's mass-produced, common stuff, but just an FYI on that. Also, I do use a linear power supply as an option for the USB card, not because, well, for those people that are neurotic about needing a linear power supply, it makes 0 sense, guys, to have a linear power supply going into your motherboard that already has a PWM, which is basically what you're trying to avoid, switch mode, different noise, by using an SMPS. But a motherboard already has one of those on it, so doing a linear power supply into a motherboard makes no sense. Now, if you really want to get neurotic, doing a linear power supply into the USB card is the way to go for those that are neurotic about that. You can, frankly, nowadays you can get away with SMPS for both, and you could argue easily it's better for both. But in any case, I offer these options for anybody who wants server builds. And my server builds have been in fact, 2 of my server builds are in MBL Extreme systems. So, can't get much higher than that. I think you've seen all the other treatments. I have a projector, standard seating here. I try to get the right listening height. I use a lot of DSP. Oh, the best product, forgot about this down here, is the mini DSP SHD. That thing is pretty much invaluable. And I have lots of videos on that, from Dirac to EQ. You can't get much better in terms of a preamp DAC combo. In the back here, I am using some inacoustic cabling and an inacoustic AC 4500 power conditioner. One of the few power conditioners I've found that you can plug your amps into without any issue. So home theater is Emotiva processors and amps behind the screen. Let me go into the main room and show you some more stuff. Although here I don't have a turntable, so I basically just framed all my albums that I had back in the day when I did have a turntable. This was my first album ever, Power, Corruption, Lies from New Order. Rain Parade is another, probably my second album. This is a great album. Violent Femmes, Beatles, Foreigner. This one I bought strictly, back in the day you'd go to a record store, you had to kind of just buy based on album covers. But The Fall was really cool. Not only album cover, but that's a cool band. Check out if you have streaming. All right, let's go in here. It's late at night. I'll have to turn on the lights here for you guys. Family is sleeping, so I should keep quiet. Okay, so many of you guys have seen this before. This is my Wisdom Audio Adrenalines, which I've loved ever since the 2000s, and still for 2 speakers on their own, no extra subs, no extra everything. Still one of my favorite speakers of all time. These bass modules are like subs and will take the plaster off the walls. Incredible. Plus the coherency of one driver doing everything else. Active crossover. Let me show you the active crossover here. It requires 4 channels of amplification. You've got total control over damping, the low frequencies, the high frequencies. This gives you so much control to mate it to a room. This room is not the best room, but these speakers are incredible. They're not even open baffle. They've kind of got this unique baffle angle that gives you that acoustic wave that Maggies don't really give with a planar driver. Again, these still today, if somebody made these, would be a few $100,000, probably price tag in terms of their performance. Just incredible, especially with the active crossover, which you rarely see. But let me show you my other, let me show you in here real quick. Turn on the light. If you ever want artwork, I'm a big fan of the 27 Club, as you probably noticed in the other room. Both of these members of the 27 Club, Jimi Hendrix and Kurt Cobain, I painted both of these. So I'll have a video explaining how you can paint these as well. You don't have to be an artist. All right, let's go in here. Turn on this light here. Okay, well, actually, here's another one I'm in process. Jim Morrison, another member of the 27 Club. Here is my newest additions, the Blue Hawaii SE amp. And the Stax SRS X9000. This is incredible. Incredible. I bought this after listening just even to one song. I knew I had to have this. And I'm going to have a video soon on the channel explaining why it worked for me and how it may work for you. And I do have a lot of experience with headphones, not to the level of 2 channel, but Odyssey, Sennheiser. Those are Sennheisers right there. Pandora, Hope, the Phenol, you name it. I've heard them all. Abyss, Focal. I even have these $3,400 Tia Forte 64 audio in-ears. So yeah, I've heard it all. And this combination of the Blue Hawaii and the Stax is just incredible. So hopefully this gets you up to date with where I am. Here's the power supply over here. And will help those that have been sending me emails. But feel free to leave any comments and questions if you want to know more.